Hi, boys and girls. I am back to read a couple more stories with you. What we are going to be looking at this week with our stories is nonfiction text. So, what is a nonfiction story? And that's going to be some things that we talk about. What exactly makes a nonfiction story what it is? And next week, you'll be looking at what makes a fiction story exactly what is a fiction. So we want to be able to know the difference between these two types of stories, okay? So as I said, we will be reading nonfiction this week. So there are a couple things that I want to tell you about nonfiction stories. We can usually spot a nonfiction story because it shows facts. It will sometimes have real photos, and it will usually not have a story or characters. Okay? So those are some things that we are going to be looking at throughout the stories that we are reading this week. We kind of want to be able to talk about how did we know what kind of story it was. Okay? So the first one that we are going to be reading today is called Best Foot Forward. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in, and then as we go on, we will kind of talk about how we know what kind of story this is. All right? So please enjoy Best Foot Forward. Best Foot Forward. Best Foot Forward, exploring feet, flippers, and claws. Whose foot is this? You can go ahead and share the answers. What do you think that is a paw of? Did you say a tiger? A tiger's. With the soft cushioned pads on its feet, a tiger can creep up very quietly on its prey and then, click, out come the claws. And here, in a nonfiction story, we see some information down here in the bottom. It's not really a part of the page. It's kind of its own separate box. We call this a caption. A caption. So a caption is kind of extra information that sort of goes with the picture. So let's go ahead and read the caption here. We don't want to just skip over it. We want to make sure we read that caption and see what it is. Animals have very different feet depending on whether they are big or small, go fast or slow, or travel on the ground, in water, or high in the tops of trees. So they're kind of telling us a little bit extra about the picture there. Okay, and we continue to the other page. Doesn't really have to do with the tiger, but that doesn't mean we just skip over it. This gives us extra information. This is the foot of a copse snail. Its wave-like motions enable the snail to crawl across a meadow. This is the giant foot of an elephant. Since an elephant is so big and heavy, the soles of its feet are soft and springy to help cushion its walk. With this foot, the longhorn beetle can climb tree trunks and branches. The hairs on the underside of the foot keep it from slipping off. An ostrich has only 2 toes, but these toes grip and help the bird run remarkably fast. So here on the first page of our story, did we have any characters? No, not really. We did learn some information about the tiger and what its paws are for, and then they told us more information on this page using real photographs and facts or real pieces of information. We even had a caption, which is something that we will see only in a nonfiction story. Let's continue. Whose foot is this? What do you think? Take a guess. Let's find out. That was a leaf-tailed gecko. Animals that live in trees need feet for walking and climbing. That was our caption there, extra information about the gecko. The gecko hunts for insects high up in the trees. The red-eyed tree frog climbs the trees of the rainforest. It uses its toes to grip onto branches and even onto leaves. A sticky liquid comes out of the toes of the red-eyed tree frog that helps the frog hold on tight. Another gecko, the tokay, has ribbed toes that cling to smooth surfaces so it can climb up walls and walk along the ceiling. The chimpanzee can grip with its feet, which help it swing through the trees. So we learn more information and more facts on this page. Whose foot is this? That was a duck's. The webbing between its toes make the duck an expert at paddling. Our caption, animals that swim need feet that help propel them in the water. Kind of like if we were to wear a flipper. This is the back foot of the Australian freshwater crocodile. The webbing helps the crocodile climb up slippery, muddy riverbanks. The African clawed frog also has powerful webbed feet on its back legs. This is the foot of a seal. It's called a flipper. Seals can't walk at all. They wiggle on their stomachs and use their flippers for swimming. Whose foot is this? Let's see. That was a tortoise's foot. The tortoise uses its strong claws to dig into the sand. Our caption again, animals don't just use their feet to walk, climb, or swim. Some use them for digging. The mole's feet are like strong shovels with long, flat claws. They are perfect feet for digging long tunnels under the ground. This beautiful spotted foot belongs to the red-footed tortoise, which lives in the Amazon rainforest in South America. A female digs a nest for her eggs deep into the moist soil. So we are learning a lot of information in this story about different animals and what they use their claws and paws for. Whose foot is this? Go ahead and take a guess. Did you say a kangaroo? With its very long back feet, the kangaroo can jump as far as 40 feet. So just to think about it, I'm a little over 5 feet tall. So you would need about, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So, to jump as long as a kangaroo, you will need about 8 Mr. H's stacked on top of each other to jump as far as a kangaroo. That's really long. Animals that depend on jumping need to have powerful legs and strong feet. Come over to this side. The snow hare can jump fast and far. The thick fur on its feet keep it from sinking into the soft snow. With its clingy toes, the squirrel is a very skillful climber. Strong back legs and feet help it spring from tree to tree. Whose foot is this? What do you think? That is a lobster's claw. A lobster has feet like snapping scissors on 6 of its 10 legs. Feet can be quite extraordinary. The sea star has 5 arms with hundreds of tiny suction feet that help it grip the ocean floor and not get swept away in the current. An octopus also has suction cups on its 8 tentacles. Short, stubby legs help this death-head hawk moth caterpillar climb up plants and find good leaves to eat. The caterpillar's feet have moist bristles that help keep it from falling off the branch. And that is the end of our story. In the back here, we have another feature of a nonfiction story, an index. So if I wanted to go back and look again at something in the book, I can use the index here to find exactly what that is. So if I wanted to learn about the octopus, I know I can go right to page 29 and flip back and find a little bit of information about the octopus. Okay? So, what kind of story would you say that this was? We kind of talked about it before the story. Good. This would be a non-fiction story. That means it is a true story. Okay? It is non-fiction. They gave us true information and true facts. Okay? That is the main thing that a non-fiction story will do. It is something that is real. Okay? Now let's think about what exactly they told us in that story. What did we learn about? Yeah, they told us all about different animals and what they used their feet for. So, if I am not sure if I'm reading a nonfiction story or a fiction story, I can kind of think, okay, did I learn something in that story? And if the answer is yes, and then you can say what you learned, and we learned all about the animal's feet. I didn't know that a lobster had 6 claws on its feet. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it only had 2. So I learned a fact. Okay, so that's how I know it was a non-fiction story. So that was an important thing in this book. It also had real photographs. Real photographs. If a story has real photographs, a lot of the time it will be a nonfiction story, but not always. Nonfiction stories do not always have pictures, and they do not always have photographs. Sometimes we might see a drawing in a nonfiction story. The important part is that they give us facts, and we learned real information. Okay? We will talk more about things of a nonfiction story in our later books. I hope you enjoyed this one. Bye-bye.